Hello, everybody. This is Shaker Iyer, and we will be starting in just a few minutes as people are trickling into our webinar. Thanks all for attending the session and looking forward to a exciting discussion here. Hello, everybody. We will be starting in just another minute or so as people are dialing into our webinar. We are looking forward to a exciting discussion here. Hello, everybody. Just one more minute. I'm going to ask you all, as there are any questions that pop up, that you could send it along the chat session. That way, we'll try to address it as we go along, or we will take it at the end of the session. We leave about 10 minutes for any live Q&A, anything that you need clarification on. We'll be starting in just another 30 seconds, just waiting for folks to jump in. And again, looking forward to a good discussion here. Okay, well, why don't we get started? And a very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, wherever you are. Very excited to have this webinar series kick off again. There's a lot of new exciting things happening at Arango. Today, the Fireside Chat is about the pursuit of profitable and impactful Gen AI. My name is Shaker Iyer. I'm the CEO of ArangoDB, and I'm here with Ravi Maharwa, Chief Product Officer and Technology Officer, and many other things at ArangoDB. He wears a lot of hats. He has recently joined ArangoDB, and very excited to have him a part of the next phase of Arango journey. So, good to have you, Ravi.
Thank you.
And we are going to have a very simple, quick agenda here. Welcome to Ravi and everybody who's out there. We'll get a few introductions, especially with Ravi and why he joined ArangoDB, especially at this time. We'll talk about what the state of the union is out there. We are obviously in very interesting times with Gen AI being a part of every conversation. Good, bad, ugly, all of the above, hype, reality to be determined. But we'll talk about that and our experiences with customers and early adopters. And also, most importantly, what is Arango doing? What is our vision? What is our roadmap? And this is where it's great to have someone like Ravi with many decades of experience come in and give us a good outside in view, and also where we can go based on what we have seen through the journey of Arango so far. So that is what we have in store for you. Really looking forward to answering the first question: who is Ravi? So, Ravi, we have known each other for many, many years. So it's great to be working on the third company again. We were at Informatica before, we were at SAP, and now, as fate would have it, we are at ArangoDB. So I think obviously the team would be looking forward to understanding who is Ravi, and maybe you can give us a little introduction on who
Sure.
you are and where it all started.
Oh, very good. Thank you. Thank you, Shaker. Thank you, everybody. And thanks for all the participants who joined and still joining. Really appreciate you all. I'm super excited to be here. So as you can see on the pictures, I'm an engineer by trade. In fact, I started my life in an automobile company in Mahindra and Mahindra in Mumbai, in India. I'm actually originally from Delhi, so I was born in Delhi. And then as Shaker mentioned, that I had the privilege of working at SAP, some of the very large, big companies, but also, Shaker, if you build it out, some of the really good companies like SAP, Informatica, GE Digital, JP Morgan Chase, my recent, and then last 5 months at Arango. And then, yes, a lovely family. So I have my two amazing kids, my lovely wife. And then, yes, my lifelong principle is you keep learning till you die, and that drives me, that motivates me. So that's about me. I'm based out of East Bay in the Bay Area. So that's why you have the San Francisco bridge picture. But yes, pursuit of learning, understanding, and now with this exciting opportunity that we have in front of us with the Gen AI, I think the world is changing around us, and we are so blessed and lucky to be there. I was there when the internet boom took off. I'm here when the Gen AI is taking off. So super excited.
Great to have you, Ravi. And you'll see it wasn't the Golden Gate Bridge, it was the Bay
Bay
Bridge.
Bridge.
So
Thank
he
you.
is making it very clear, East Bay.
East Bay, yes, thank you.
But no, great to have you, Ravi. It really is very exciting times. And we had written a book in which I had written a preface on Gen AI powered by Graph. And in 95, when the internet revolution was starting, and again, same questions were being asked, hype or reality, I think we can all safely say that internet has had a profound impact on what we have done over the last 30 years. I really do believe Gen AI will, and we can discuss this and debate this and love to get your thoughts and ideas of people who are out there, how it is going to impact. And more importantly, what do we need to do to have the proper impact? And I think that is the pursuit of profitable Gen AI implementations. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Arango's journey so far. I've been with the company about 3.5 years. I was very excited to join this company because I thought there was just such a tremendous potential. And I honestly believe more than day one, there is a even greater ability for Arango to make an impact for all our customers out there. So why is that? The first and foremost is we are really blessed that we have been chosen by many, many large, small, medium companies to help them with their specific business problems and solutions, whether it's the largest, most valued company like NVIDIA, and I know it depends on a day-to-day basis on the stock price, but the fact is there is no question NVIDIA has just blazed the world with what they are doing and how they are helping companies get into Gen AI and adoption of that. Companies like HPE, who are doing network asset management at scale that is touching billions and billions of end customers with their solution. We have small, innovative companies that have no legacy and are building the next generation. We don't know the next Google is going to be one of those, or the next NVIDIA, or whatever the next hot company is that are just lurking. And the speed with which that will happen is going to be unprecedented. So, I'm very excited and lucky that the customers have given us an opportunity to help them. And we are truly blessed across all industries, all sizes of companies, all kinds of use cases. We've been able to help them. So, when I was talking to Ravi and said, well, you should come work for us, he asked me why. He still asks me why, but he has himself got the answers as he's been talking. But there are fundamental three things that are of immense value that we believe we bring, and this is what our customers tell. It's the multi-model flexibility, and that is the beauty of what Arango is. It is not just a graph, it's a document, it's a search, it's a vector, it's a Gen AI platform, it's a geospatial capabilities natively embedded within it. It's one thing to stitch together these models and it's another thing to have it natively built. And this is what our co-founders and our real founding engineers did. Tremendous engineering feat. And this has been repeatedly one of the main reasons people choose us. The second, because the way it was architected, it is unmatched scalability. And in today's world, with the kind of volume of data and what is happening, the proliferation of that in the Gen AI world, this is just exploding. We need more than ever scalability, and it needs to be cost-effective scalability. Because of course you can, if you are the largest company in the world, maybe you can afford it. But if you're small startups, mid-sized companies, or even large companies that are in a transformation, you need a cost-effective, scalable model. The third thing, which is really important, is deployment flexibility. We live in a world where people have air-gapped environment requirements. We have people who want to have a managed service. They don't have the people and staff. We have people who have their own native cloud offerings and needs to be embedded. So this is really important. So let me ask you, Ravi, what do you think about what I just said? Does that resonate with you in the last 4 or 5 months you've been here?
100%. So in fact, it's so interesting that before I came here, and Shaker is not joking, it was like, Ravi, you should work together. I'm like, yeah, I think I'm getting old, but I do want to have a big impact on the world, and with the Gen AI taking shape and forming and reforming our societies and the work culture and the productivity, I did want to have a change in career. I was having a great time at JP Morgan Chase, but then I was looking for something to say, okay, can I make an impact? So when Shaker and I started talking, I said, okay, Shaker, if it was just pure graph database, I wouldn't be so excited about this because there are departmental use case. I was at JP Morgan or SAP. We always, it was a vanity project and it was not so much about a mainstream. So then one of the things that is now becoming much more prevalent, I would almost say it's a renaissance moment for Arango. Earlier, when you said, hey, we are a multi-model database, everybody said, yeah, but I have my Postgres, I have my SQL, I have my NoSQL. And yes, if I need a graph database, I'm just going to buy something that's off the shelf, use it, and it's only for a departmental use case. That's not my enterprise data strategy, and so on and so forth. But now, with the Gen AI, the whole data strategy, the whole data pipelines, the infrastructure has to be rethought. Why is that? The reason LLMs don't think the way the old SQLs of the world or the old application frameworks used to approach. The LLMs need actually a lot of data, but then a lot of data with a lot of context and a lot of semantic information, a lot of ontology information, and so on and so forth. Now, how do you do that? Of course, you can do it to say, I have my SQL database, I have my data warehouses, I have my data lakes, I have my NoSQL databases. I'm going to put this all together. Then I'm going to add to the mix for the LLMs and vector database. And then I will put a graph on top of it. So I'll just get another graph database. But as you listen to yourself, or I listen to myself saying that, I'm like, oh my God. So at least I have to integrate 5 technologies. Then I have to find out all those 5 technologies, can they scale equally well? So if my graph doesn't scale, but everything else scales, then I'm still handicapped by how far the graph can take me. Or vice versa, if my vector database doesn't scale and everything else scales, I'm still handicapped. So how do we make sure that you are actually able to scale across the board with your document store, with your key value store, with your vector database, with your graph database, and your GenAI capabilities? And can you do it and your search? So Elasticsearch, yeah, you have a search, but then search scales to a certain degree. But then if you want to now combine it with other databases, you basically are the lowest denominator again. So then, and then you have the different technologies. You have SQL, NoSQL, so on and so forth, and Cypher, and so on. And I'm looking at this and I'm saying, if that's the word it's going to be, it's going to be much more complicated than. So from us coming from a native multi-model database, so again, sometimes it's providence, sometimes it's foresight, sometimes it's gumption, sometimes it's, as you will call it, renaissance. But multi-model is the name of the game right now. Every database vendor is today trying to either acquire or build out additional capabilities. Good thing is we don't have to do that. We are actually already a native multi-model database. Not only that, I love our model because there are a lot of our clients who are using it in very, very different ways. So some of our clients are using us because they want to embed our database into their solution that they serve to the clients. Then we have some clients who are using it for their internal use cases, so enterprise use cases for their internal customers or internal IT staff. And then we have clients who are now these startups who have no legacy, who don't have Postgres, who don't have any of the SQL or NoSQL databases, and they are starting from scratch. And some of those companies are saying, why choose 3 or 5 or 6 databases? Why not just choose Arango and build everything on top of it, especially around the Gen AI? So for us, everything you're saying, and again, none of this is possible if you don't scale because LLMs are data hungry. In fact, there is no LLM if you don't have the data. So how do you make sure that you can scale? You can provide all of that enterprise data and the public data and can then combine it and can unify it and can provide it and provision it for your LLMs to consume with context. I mean, that's unmatched. So yes, I'm hearing this, I'm seeing it, and now we'll talk about some of the Gen AI things, what we're doing. And I think our prospects and our clients will see that too.
Excellent. So, Ravi, there's a question that's come in. Steve Moore, thank
Mhm.
you. There's something I've been pondering as of the last week or two. Do you have plans to be able to store blobs or binaries in Vertex nodes, specifically the ability to natively store images in the graph? So, again, if this is the right time to answer, or maybe later.
Sure. Me again, every question is good. And by
Yeah.
the way, Steve, absolutely fantastic question. In fact, we say multimodal, and then we have multimodal. So the whole point is, and you are basically reading the tea leaves. In fact, one of the basic questions that we are getting is exactly that. Okay, you're doing the text and you're able to store all of that stuff, and then can you allow me to store some of my images and some of the audio files and so on and so forth. So yes, we are on it, we are looking at it, we are figuring it out. The good news is that we are a native document store, so we are able to store some of the blobs and so on and so forth. But now how do we make it accessible and easily, I would say, usable without going through a whole lot of hoops is something that we're working on. But yes, but one of the things that we are working with NVIDIA, and Shaker, you can talk much more
Hmm.
authoritatively about it, but we are working on their VSS project, which is basically video surveillance and synthesis project, where we are actually taking some of the video and files and audio files and being able to transcribe through the computer vision and being able to actually store that in our vertices and nodes. So yes, we're doing some of that, but I think one of the other forefront would be can we actually store the raw data, which is the raw video files and so on and so forth, which is what Steve, I think you're asking as well. So great question.
Hmm.
Stay tuned. We are working on this at this point. We're working very closely with NVIDIA as well. So yes.
Yep, absolutely, Steve. And the VSS, it's a blueprint that NVIDIA has gotten out. We are releasing very shortly. Look out for a couple of blogs on whether it's video files, audio files, structured, unstructured, all of those things together. And this is where really the beauty of what we have done and we are proud of is really infinite use cases across pretty much any industry, whether it's fraud, cyber, supply chain, customer 360, single view of a patient, recommendation engines. These are just some of the core use cases we see again and again. And there are many other creative use cases that are out there. So we're excited that we are also coming out with more blueprints for the use cases like identity and access management that you'll see shortly coming out, followed by a lot more also industry specific content that's in the roadmap for us to deliver to you. And really, this will help accelerate the business value creation ultimately. And Steve, I'll definitely get back to you on what you are working on. So we'll take your questions at the end regarding the RAG system you're building. And so let's go to the next section. So Ravi, we've been doing this. We're not the spring chickens we were 30 years ago when we came into the workforce. But it seems that businesses are struggling with Gen AI projects.
Mhm.
There are real ROI challenges, and the internet was buzzing with the MIT study saying 95% of Gen AI projects fail. What are your thoughts and comments on this?
First of all, I would say failure is just one more step closer to success. So I think what people are saying and what I read from this is that 95%, at least 100% of the people are trying. and 95% of the people are learning and 5% are succeeding. Now, I would say I would agree with you, Shaker, and it is really like almost like a deja vu. When internet was coming along, there was a lot of hype. Everybody needed to be e-commerce company, and of course, there were all kind of companies that were started, moms and pops, and every developer thought they can actually start an e-commerce company. But and then 95% of them failed as well. But then the 5% that succeeded became some of the biggest companies that we know now, and they are trillion-dollar valuations. So I would just say one of the challenges we do have is that a lot of people are still in the learning stage. Gen AI is evolving so quickly. It means new models, new model updates, new capabilities are being introduced every time, new tooling is introduced every time, new frameworks are being introduced every time, and so on and so forth. So this thing is going to go through a lot of evolution, churn, and so on and so forth. But and there are different reasons why projects are taking longer. There is a team, there is a culture, there's an adoption or openness to change and adopting Gen AI regulations and so on and so forth. But I think the two reasons I think which relate to us and where we think we can help are, first of all, it is still true, garbage in, garbage out. So if your data is not ready for LLMs, or if your LLMs are not ready for your data, that marriage is not going to work. So that's for sure. And then the second piece is a lot of people are trying to figure out which Gen AI tools to use, how to use it, which databases to use, how to stitch this all things together. So I think that's Shaker, your slide, but I think to me, the story still rings true.
Sure.
It's
Yeah. No, this started many years ago at Informatica, but the fact is, the complexity of data silos and the integration of it. It's ironic, we're sitting at the Salesforce tower that bought Informatica for 8 billion, again validating for AI and Gen AI to be done right. It is about the data. It is about integration of the data, its ability to handle any type of data, real time, batch, some flavors of it, structured, unstructured. And while there is a lot of legacy infrastructure, and this is what we tried to do many years ago with data warehouses, data marts, and data lakes, and other things, people are still struggling to get the end business value on the right side fast enough in a cost effective way. And this is again what those projects say, project study said 95% did not get the right business value, the ROI. And there are a lot of reasons, as Ravi was mentioning, but this complexity exists. It's the technology archaeology, as I say, decades and decades of IT infrastructure, which some of the lucky ones are the next generation Gen AI. They have a blank sheet of paper. They can design systems as they want. And also, the beauty in this agentic world that we live in, you can take pieces of what your existing infrastructure is, combine it with new, and be able to do it in a much more cost-effective and faster way. What are your thoughts on this, Ravi? There are so many things like Databricks and
yeah.
Snowflake and cloud vendors. Um, and at the end of the day, people just want to get business value.
Yeah, I would. So the way I think about this is almost like in three separate buckets. So one thing I think about is where people are going to say, I need to build everything myself. And there is a reason for that. They are either regulated industries, they are defense industries, they are highly classified information, their data is highly sensitive. So they do need to protect that data. They don't want to use public LLMs. They don't want other people to be able to look at that data. So there are people who are going to be building everything themselves. So when they are building themselves, I think they need to really look at their infrastructure and say, do I need to be able to now stitch this together, or do I actually buy something which is actually accelerates my value or my ROI or time to market? So whichever is driving the project. So that's that one category, and I think that's where we help in, because you will see as we talk a little bit about future of Arango, that how we are going to help you there. Then there is a second category of use cases or vendors, or sorry, or the enterprises or the people who are building these things, who are saying that we need to be able to build some of these things ourselves so that our clients can actually be able to build them. So they are building some of the so as for example, if we are trying to say we are a Gen AI data platform, so we are able to actually integrate all of your data, take you out of the integration mess, provide you a single interface, an AQL or a single language to be able to search, vector, graph, document database and so on and so forth, and we integrate all of the lang graphs and lang chains and so on and so forth. We provide you that platform. And now the companies are saying that we will actually use that to build some domain specific models and so on and so forth for the enterprise so that they can actually get the ROI very, very quickly. And then there is a third segment, which is basically saying, I don't need to build anything. I'm a business user, or I don't have the team or the culture or the people or the capacity or the wherewithal or the money to continue to build things. I just want to buy things which they can actually help me, get the ROI very quickly. So we are segmenting all of those three client base or those kind of prospects and clients. And for us, we want to be that integration layer. We want to be that data layer and the data platform, not even a layer, but a platform. So that it's much easier for whether if you're a developer or if you're a casual user or you're a business user, you're able to get instant value.
Excellent. So given that, where is Arango going? And here is a very simple agentic architecture that we've seen that resonates with our customers. There's typically three layers of the cake. There's probably a fourth underneath, powered by the NVIDIAs of the world, of all the AI factory infrastructure that's needed. But let's start with the foundational layer, the LLMs, SLMs, domain-specific models, etc. What I call the second layer is more the database, the workflow, and the orchestration layer. And the third is the business domain applications and solutions. A lot of the first generation applications were more like chatbots, etc., but that's much more sophisticated elements that are there. And we'll talk a little bit more about what we're doing from a roadmap perspective. And to bring this to life, if you look at on the right side, we work with any LLM model. We are completely agnostic. We can plug and play with any. We are already doing that for a number of our customers. So the bottom layer, there's so much rapid innovation going on. Before you say model has been released, something else has been released. Somebody told me there were like 56 large language model updates in 1 week a couple of weeks ago. So this is a very dynamic world. The beauty is we can harness the power of any of them. Then on the top layer, you have new age companies like Lean, etc., that are building it. But also a lot of companies today, our customers are doing it. They are trying to inject more Gen AI capabilities, power graphed, into their solutions. Companies like HP and others that are doing this. And then people are building custom apps. And this is where it's the next evolution of chatbots. How can I get data or answer to things that is much, much more compelling and fast without the complexity? Where does Arango fit? We are in the middle layer. We're not trying to be the top layer. There are going to be millions of apps and solutions. There's going to be constant dynamic elements on the foundational layer. But we want to help you simplify the middle layer, whether it's graph, relational, NoSQL, data. The ability to first collapse the complexity is important. And then B, scale, because as you can see, there will be many, many requirements for scale and latency, which is what we constantly hear from our customers. And then to take the power on top and at the bottom of this infrastructure. And this is kind of the architecture that we have seen is working really well. And love your thoughts, Ravi, as you're talking to customers. What do you hear, and what are you kind of feeling out there?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think so. We want to be a data platform. We are not going to go into the application space. We are absolutely not going to go into building LLMs and so on and so forth. I think that's too big of an ask. I think our core is our core database, and we know data, we know databases, and we know data platforms. So that's where we want to stay. But we feel that we have a place. We have a place even if you're an enterprise with a lot of legacy systems and also Snowflakes and Databricks and every database that you can name. Most of the large enterprise do have those. We just want to be a plug and play. So we want to be able to integrate with those data layers or data lakes or data warehouses or your ERP systems and being able to provide you an interface that your LLMs can talk to. So that's our data platform strategy for those enterprises. But then, as Shekhar was saying, there are people who are building net new type of application which never existed before or are only possible because of the LLMs and agentic workflows that are being now devised, created, designed. And for that one, they don't have a legacy, they don't have a Postgres, they don't have a SQL database, they don't have a NoSQL. And They are like a couple of developers who are saying, okay, we're going to build, we have a domain expertise or we have a business knowledge, we want to build some application. And for those people, they want to start with something small, simple, which is not a whole lot of integration and mess and so on and so forth. They don't have a lot of legacy, so they want to get started quickly, go to market quickly, prove it out, and then scale. So for us, that's a sweet spot. So the startups, if you're out there looking to build some of the Gen AI application, agentic workflows, we are absolutely delighted to partner with you, and we are partnering with some of our clients or customers who are using us in that format. And then, of course, there are other clients that Shekhar has mentioned. Every client that we have talked to, whether they were using traditional graph database or had traditional applications, they are now under constant pressure to say, what is your AI strategy? When are you going to introduce? So you have seen Microsoft and all these other clients who are already integrating chatbots, co-pilots, and so on and so forth. And that's just the start. And then Intuit is actually basically saying, hey, we can actually have agents who can actually pay your invoices automatically and so on and so forth. So you don't actually have to figure out how to on who to pay first. And those are the kind of things, and those are the kind of now innovations that can be augmented using our data platform layer. And we just want to make sure that we are able to sit beside existing your legacy infrastructure. We can plug into your existing applications or embed it into this, or we can actually, for if you're a startup, we can be your data infrastructure from the get-go. So you don't have to live with the mess that some of the legacy teams have to deal with.
Yep. So there's an interesting comment there. Exposing Fox
Yes.
microservices as MCP server would be an amazing feature. So I think it's Eugene. Very, very cool comment.
Yes.
And in fact, we are going to go and talk to Mr.
Yes.
CPO here about what's next, Ravi. All this nice high-level meta talk is great, but tell us, what is the vision?
Yes. So again, I think I just want to maybe reflect on the history. And I mean, we are again, not only Shaker and I are not spring chickens. Arango is actually in the market, and the good thing is we've been in the market as a native multimodal database from the get-go. But again, there was not a real market, or there was not a real need or a driving factor. People just use us as a graph because that was a new thing, and this was a
Combination of
combination.
document.
Doc, some people use Doc, but very few. But and some of our customers were smart enough to be able to use all of us
Mhm.
or of all of our capability. But now with the LLMs, I think we absolutely have to make ourselves more visible and put ourselves out there. And the way to do it is, of course, we have to do the messaging and positioning and so on. So you will see in Q4, we're actually going to be repositioning. Again, we're not changing, we're evolving. And the whole point is we already always had some of these foundational elements. We had the core database, which was natively multimodal, natively able to be cloud native, and also being able to be embeddable. So we have done all of that stuff. And for the last 10 years, we've been perfecting that, and we've been working on that. But now with the Gen AI, as I said earlier, it is a renaissance moment. So for us, now how do we write that, and how do we make sure our clients don't have to figure out how to use Arango with Gen AI or LLMs and so on and so forth? So the idea is that we are going to be evolving into a 4-pillar strategy. And for fifth pillar is more our partners will evolve with us. So the idea is that we have the core DB, which is our seed. I call it the seed of the avocado. So our logo is avocado. So I always joke around this one. But I think we have to make the fruit much more visible, which was not necessarily the case. And the fruit is not just the core database, which is our strength, which is I would say, our fortress, which is our key competency, but making sure that we surround it with some platform services. So the question that came up saying, hey, Fox is an MCP. Absolutely.
Yep.
We do need to, in fact, refresh Fox, and we do need to have the MCP. And even why just Fox? Why not our database as an MCP? Why not our graph as an MCP? So those are the kind of things that we need to enable for our Gen AI partners or clients, and everybody's going to use that. And yes, I see some of the commentary already going on. So there's a lot of excitement for that. But as we do this, one of the other things that we have to make sure is, okay, one of the gap and the challenge that when I came in, and I've heard this, and I've heard it from you, and I've heard it from our developers or in the community, that hey, AQL is powerful, it's amazing, it's simple, but it's yet another new language that I have to learn. Are you doing anything around that, and how do we make sure? So one of the other things we want to do is to actually be Gen AI, not Gen AI just that we are integrating with Gen AI, but also be a Gen AI enabled database. What that means is we are actually going to be, and you will see shortly, we are going to be coming out where we will generate the AQL for you from text. You will see that we will convert your Cypher or any other language to an AQL so that you, if you have a Delta and you don't have a team and you don't have the time to learn, you can get started early. But why stop there? We also want to make sure that if you're trying to figure out how do I put all these MCPs and LangChains and the LangGraphs and the Triton servers from NVIDIA, and then do some of the other blueprints, and then use the database, and how do I integrate all of that together? That's what our GenAI suite will be. So all of that integration, we want to build it. You bring your own LLM, you bring your own tool chains, or we provide you the tool chains, we provide you the integrations. And not only that, we provide you the integration with just the LLMs, but if you have domain-specific models or you're building domain-specific models, because which is going to be the trend, because people are going to be protective about their data. So they would use LLM, but they would probably go to a DSM, what we call domain specific model, or small language models, which are embedded within the enterprise. And then, yes, one of the other things that people were saying is, hey, can you make your product experience a little bit better? Is it easier to find information on the web? Is your website much more easy to navigate? Is your product much more easy to use? Can I find things on the product, inside the product? And those are the things. So for us, the 4 pillars are core database, making sure that we strengthen that database. We're already there. We recently introduced vector database. So now we have combined vector search, KV, or key value store, graph database, document store, unified search, all of that stuff in one place and one language. So one ring to rule them all.
So can I ask a question, Ravi? This whole notion, as I talk to customers, Cypher, AQL, you mentioned it a little briefly. Um, does it even matter in the next 3 to 6 months, or should people care?
I think we have to make it not matter.
Okay.
So today it does matter because right now clients are, if they have to use Arango, that's the only way you integrate.
So
So it's
they
a
need to
powerful
know
language,
AQL
correct?
and okay.
Right? But to your point,
Yeah.
I think the
Someone is
way,
saying AQL is amazing. I would never change
yeah,
it.
we would not change that. We would absolutely not change that. One of the things that we want to do it is to provide you a layer on top of AQL,
Mm-hmm.
so that if you're not the expert in AQL, or if you need help with the AQL, you can ask. We almost think of our database as an agentic database where you ask
Mm-hmm.
us things, and you wrote an AQL, give it to us, and say, hey, is my AQL good? I think we should be able to provide you that feedback,
Mm-hmm.
so that you are not struggling and trying to figure out, oh, do I need to reach out to support and so on and so forth? Can I be self-sufficient? Can I be faster? Can I do experiments quickly? And can I get started quickly? So we're not replacing AQL. That is the heart of our core database.
Mm-hmm.
We are just saying, for people who are not in love with AQL yet,
Mm-hmm.
can they actually
Sure.
start getting
Or,
the experience of
sure.
AQL?
Or just like new people coming to coding, they don't need to know the details, but they get the power of AQL
Correct.
and the whole multi-model capabilities. Why do you want 5 different languages? Anyway, we've beaten to death about that. So obviously the core database, very proud of what we built and will continue. This is the foundation and the core. What are we doing on the Gen AI side?
That is so. Again, I just want to make sure and reiterate, we have existing clients who are using our database, core database, and they're phenomenally successful, scalable. So we love that, and we please continue to do that. But all of those clients, and I don't call it a pivot, I call it a evolution, because when we're talking to some of those clients who are using us just as a database, they are asking us, hey guys, what is your Gen AI strategy? Because we are being asked themselves, because those clients or enterprises or the clients who are using us in embedded mode are being asked by their CEOs to say, what is our Gen AI strategy? When are we going to introduce agents? When are we going to have chatbots? When are we going to have co-pilots and so on and so forth? And all of those clients. Sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead.
but I'll even say there almost every large company or small company is doing some AI project,
Correct.
but they're not doing it right. And also, one of the things I hear is, Ravi, there are these large software companies that claim to have very generic horizontal technology,
Correct.
but it's not meeting the needs.
Correct.
How will our AI suite be different?
Yeah, no, perfect. So first, we want to make sure that some of the table stake is that we are integrating with some of the tooling so that we make the developers and people who want to use and build Gen AI applications easy. So that's a table stake.
Mm.
Everybody has to do it. We are doing it, and we're making sure that if you use Arango database, you don't have to figure out how to integrate with all these technologies, tooling, and so on and so forth, how to build GraphRag. We will provide you those solutions. So GraphRag, hybrid RAG, embedding the vector search, including inside those things. I think to differentiate what you were saying, that other companies are doing is that they were either SQL or they were on non-SQL databases, and they're making some acquisitions, they are embedding some technologies, they are building some other stuff, and then they are trying to stitch this all together for you, and then they're trying to integrate with LLM. Thankfully, we don't have to do any of that stuff. Natively, we were always a multi-model database.
Mm-hmm.
We have the vector embeddings, we have the documents, we have the key value stores, we have the search embedded. All of that is in one place, right? So that's a key differentiator,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
right? And you don't have to have layers and layers and different stitching that you have to do. On the other hand, once you have all these things in one place, that enables some things that other people are not able to do. So example, what I will just simply use is, if you were going to use multiple databases, every time you want to do provenance or you want to know where the data came from, or if I want to see, I'm seeing a result, you gave me an answer, I want to see where the answer came from. I want to go and take the lineage. I want to go back into what were the vector embeddings, how they were matched, which was the document that they matched to. If all of that data is in multiple data in places, it will be a lot of hops for you to be able to integrate and being able to provide that in front of the client. So there's a lot of work can be done. Yes, can be done.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a lot of maintenance nightmare, upgrade nightmare. And anytime you change something, you basically have to change the whole chain, right? For us, your vector embeddings are stored exactly in the same place. Your documents are stored exactly in the same place. Your search is exactly doing the same thing. Your graph is exactly stored the same place. So when you are integrating or when you are integrating your LLMs, they don't have to go and do all these hops and try to figure this thing out, because we provided a single interface, a single AQL query language to be able to talk to. And then now, as we said, going forward, that will be exposed as MCPs and so on and so forth. So that's the difference, which I think it'll be, again, nothing is impossible in software, but it'll take a lot of time.
Sure.
And a lot of effort.
Why build when you can be able to get these accelerated toolkits? So maybe give us a little bit of an example of some of the more discrete functionality coming out, Ravi.
Yeah. So again, one of the classical use case people are, or most enterprises are starting with saying, hey, either we want to build our ontology, or we want to build out some GraphRag, or we want to build out some, chatbots, copilots, and so on and so forth. What that means is that you have to take your structured, unstructured data, your enterprise data, not the data that is available publicly, but the data that you actually have some domain information about, and combine it with some of the public information, but within your firewalls. So that's where the whole graph RAG, hybrid RAG use cases are coming along, where people are saying, I do want to use some of the LLMs, but I don't want to expose my data to the LLMs, right? So how do you do that? So that's where there's a lot of effort. And then in some cases, people are saying that I want to have my own DSM and so on and so forth.
DSM meaning domain
specific models, right? Because the LLMs are trained on a generic information, but if you look at Bank of America or JP Morgan Chase, where I was, even the same financial instruments are named differently. They have different characteristics and so on and so forth. So that only internal teams and people know.
I'll give a very interesting example. The customer said, Shaker, all this OpenAI is great. It's great to know that France has so many, so-called counties and stuff, but I don't care. I'm a semiconductor company and I want a domain-specific, high accurate, confidence building solution. So it needs to be tuned to what I need for my domain, my use case in my industry. And that's where what Ravi is saying is very relevant. And that is also what will increase that success rate dramatically when you have the right elements.
Absolutely. And again, I just want to stress that we already want to make sure that it's not just about LLM, it's also about your ML. So can you actually bring your own models? Can you use your ML models in conjunction with LLMs or without LLMs so that you are able to be self-sufficient? So we want to be able to enable those scenarios. Again, how to figure out how to integrate with NVIDIA Triton or now new servers that they are coming up, or with some of the OPS or Network X frameworks and QGraphs. Another thing I actually didn't mention, now that you remind me, that we're the only database who's natively GPU accelerated, right? So we are absolutely built for that. We enable that, and our GenAI suite is absolutely powered by that. So working very closely with NVIDIA on that front. So we feel very, very good about what we're doing. And again, whether you're in machine learning and you're going to Gen AI, you are a Gen AI, but you have your machine learning models, or you have none of these and you want to start, I think we have
Sure.
everything for you.
No, very important point you made, Ravi. We have been partners with NVIDIA for close to 5 years. We've been a technology partner. They're using our technology internally in numerous projects. They're building a COE for GraphRag, and we're the only natively GPU accelerated solution with NetworkX and cuGraph. And a number of customers don't even know that. We will be doing many more these sessions going forward. But again, it validates, NVIDIA is a company that could work with any company in the world, but they're choosing to partner with us for critical internal projects and their go-to-market solutions that they're taking to market. So, what about product experience? Let's be honest for a change here. Our usability has not been the most top rated. You are Mr. UX from the SAP HANA Fiori days. Um, what is it that you saw? What is it that we're doing? And where is it we are really going to change the game here?
Yeah. So I just want to make sure for people who are not familiar with these terms, UX, user experience, UI, user interface, they are not the same thing. So I just want to make sure everybody understands that. Absolutely. First and foremost, we do want to make sure that our product is easy to use and looks nice. You love integrating or working with it. So we need to make navigation easy. We need to make the interface much more modern. So we are working on that. So we are developing that. But it's much more about user experience. And the user experience comes from, can you find things on our website? Can you click on a link and go to some place that you want to go? Can you go from there to actually sign up for our product? Can you actually quickly sign up for our product, download our product, or get on our managed services, do some experimentation, and how quickly you can do some of these things? So we're looking across all of those angles, and I'm sure some of you would be glad to hear that we haven't invested as much as we should have can invest in our community and some of our outreach to our developer community or people that who use our software. So that those are the other things that we want to work on. So it's not just about the UI, it's not just about refreshing the look and feel and the color schemes and modern look, but it's also about ease of doing business with us, ease of using us, ease of finding us, ease of deploying us, ease of working with us, and being able to actually get the support that you want.
Okay. No, and Ravi, the other important thing to mention here is there are different types of users of Arango.
Yeah.
There are some that are internal use case that want a very sophisticated UI to do the things navigation, and there are those who embed our technology that rip out our UI and then they build it into their own. So we are looking at it from both personas, making sure we are optimizing it for.
No, you said it well, Shekhar. So one is yes, there are people, as he said, there are three categories, and one category is just give me the tools. I just want to use it as it. I don't want to build anything. I don't have the team. I don't have the budget. I don't have the staff. Give me everything turnkey. But then there are clients who build products for their customers. And in some cases, they do want to use some of our UI. In some cases, they don't want to use your UI, or they want us to help build their UI, which is in their, reflection of their company and their values and so on and so forth. So we do want to make sure that we are not able to only refresh our UI and our strategy, but also able to deliver some SDKs and APIs. So if you want to build your own UI, you don't like our experience, you want to build or embed, and you want to serve it to a client in a different way, if the graph has to be served out or the experience has to be different, that's something we should enable. Absolutely. Thank you for pointing that out.
No, and I think this is where it's really important. We are doing a lot of things, but deployability.
Yeah. So one of the things that people will, and I would say this is something that is a key focus for us, and I know some of our existing clients, and I've heard that from them as well. So in total honesty, we're not perfect. We are working towards that. But one of the things that we do want to make sure that we are able to do is, so if you are scaling up with us, as you are scaling up with us, we do want to make sure that we provide you the tools to be able to scale seamlessly, frictionlessly. And that scaling doesn't mean that you throw more data, but that scaling also means, can we provide you some flexibility in how you deploy us? Can we provide you some flexibility in how you expand with us? Can we provide you some elasticity in how you do your clusters and nodes and so on and so forth? Can we do some shard rebalancing and so on and so forth? Can we make sure that you have some debugging capability, that you're some instrumentation, some dashboards, so that how's the health of your system? and RBAC and things like that, because our clients have been asking like, hey, your database today, if I have access to database, I have access to everything, and if it's only restricted by collections, and we do want to have a little bit finer grained capability. So you will see that we will have an RBAC SSO integration coming in this year, and then we have the ABAC that is planned for next year. So yes, I think all of that is just to make sure that we are not only the great or the multimodal scalable database, but we're also the most reliable database, the most usable database for you.
Excellent. And, a lot of things coming. And, there's some very, very positive, high charged energy that we're seeing in the company. And what if new people want to adopt this? Is there a program? What do we have, Ravi?
No, thank you. So again, I come from a design thinking background, and I had the pleasure of working with some of those brilliant designers and smart people in Stanford and so on, to be able to figure out. So the whole point is you should never build a product in isolation. You should build a product with your clients, and think of them not as clients or customers who pay you, but also their design partners. So we're looking for some design partners. We have the things that I mentioned. We are not going to be in Q4. We are going to be introducing that. We'll be relaunching some of our products, and basically we are looking for partnerships with some of our clients. So we solicit you. There are limited, of course, there is a criteria, so we will vet you and make sure, because what we don't want to make sure is that you have the time for us to be able to give us feedback. So it's not just about the project, but also that that we will be working with you to figure out some of the things that we haven't figured out. So it's collaborative. We want to make sure that we're mutually successful, but you will gain access to our early features that nobody else has yet, or some of the things I mentioned nobody else is using yet, or some of the things are being used, but we are reformatting them. So you will get early access, so you can be 6 months ahead of everybody else. And of course, you will be able to then really directly influence our product and where we go. So I get really excited about that part of the partnership. So it's, for me, you're not just a client or a customer, but you're a partner, you're a co-innovation, uh, you know, design team or a design partner for us. So we're looking forward to that. So if you are interested, you go to arangodb.com and contact us. So just
Yep.
you click on that link and being able to engage with us.
Sure. So, no, absolutely. We have 6, 7 in the early adopter program. We may be able to get a few more. So if you're interested and it all matches up, please contact us at the link that is provided here, arangodb.com/contact. And in the interest of time, we do want to take some questions that are coming up, Ravi, and I will bring them up. But let me finish off with some few final thoughts. What we have seen is it's a very complex systems, workflows that is out there. And what Arango is trying to do is to help unify that. Two, it has to be done at scale. There are lots of, and this is what I call lots of Mickey Mouse graph projects when done at low scale look beautiful. The moment you scale it, it collapses. And in this agentic world, and everything is an agentic service, this is supremely important. And the beauty is our founders and founding engineers built it with that in mind. And that is what is amazing. And the third thing is, if we are not talking about value, and all we talk about is bits and bytes, then we've done you a disservice. It is about accelerating value. And that is when we will move that needle from a 95% failure rate to 95% success rate. And if you come with the journey with us, we'll be there helping you define and craft that. So with that, really a big thanks. Ravi's still here with me. I want to make sure we take a few questions. Here is an old name. Remember Gautam Vemuganti? Hey Gautam, long time no talk. What metadata capabilities exist or in the roadmap for all these different data types, both within the platform and to integrate to data platforms like Databricks?
Yeah. So great question, Gautam. Thank you for the question. And one of the things you will see, in fact, by the end of the year, we will have a connector with the Databricks, with Snowflake and so on and so forth. So the whole idea, and I didn't touch upon this, and stay tuned on the next version because we would like to show you a few things. But there is a whole concept of what we call virtual graph that we are building out.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the challenge when I joined Arango was, hey, And I've been in this world, in the data world, for a very, very long time. And every time you went to a client and the client wants to test it out or test drive something, or they want to do a POC, and if you ask them first, do the work for me, give me your data, then I have to load all of your data into my database, and then we can talk about POC scope. Uh, that is a lot of work for a lot of internal development teams. And if you don't have a data team and a data science team and data management team, it's a lot of work for clients to do.
Can I make a
Sure.
comment here, Ravi? One of the questions that I keep hearing is, look, this kind of graph concept is very powerful,
Yep.
but I don't know it. It seems like an esoteric art.
Right.
But I think with Gen AI, we're bringing this closer to the masses,
Right.
right? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I would just say, to continue on that thought, is idea for us is to be able to say graph is not an esoteric concept anymore, right?
Mm.
Graph is now a prerequisite.
Okay.
So that's why I call it the Renaissance moment for our company.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just the graph, it's all of those data. So Gautam's question is, what kind of data or metadata that you support. Basically, you have to support, if you're in a legacy environment, you have to support, say, SQL databases, and you have to be able to bring that data into
Mm-hmm.
Arango.
Yep.
And it's not just a graph data that you take some other graph database and put it into Arango. That's not the
Mm-hmm.
point.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have unstructured data that you want to bring into Arango, which we also support. You want to bring some key value or a time series data that you want to bring into Arango.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but what you want to do is you want to represent it in an interconnected world, because
Yeah.
the LLMs think of it in not in terms of linear table or formats. They think of it in terms of context, and they think of it in terms of semantics, and they think of it in terms of hierarchies and relationships. And that's where we shine. That's where we are able to take your SQL, unstructured, unstructured, semi-structured data
Yeah.
into any form, integrate with the Arango, provide you a relationship. If you decide it, or you define it, or we define it for you. So we have this concept called autograph, or auto generation of the graph for you. And as you get that, you're almost like 70 to 80% already there, rather than doing a whole lot of work to try to build out a graph database and being able to create the graph
Mm-hmm.
and define the graph and so on and so forth. So, Gautam, I don't know if I addressed your question, but the answer is that we are able to integrate with Snowflakes, Databricks. If you have ERP data, structured data, unstructured data, all of that data, we should be able to handle that and being able to provide you in a format that your LLMs can understand.
Yeah. There's one more question, Ravi. Any plans to update the V8 runtime?
Yes.
Or maybe
Yeah.
replace it with Bun?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So again, as I said, we are not perfect. So we are going to be replacing V8. It's on our roadmap. So the team is working very hard. So Max, if you're listening, some of my workers and some of my teammates are
yeah.
in Germany. Probably it's late for them, but hopefully they are listening in. So yes, we are absolutely committed to that, and yes, we are on that. And in fact, you will see a new reincarnation of Fox. We are actually pulling it out, and we are putting it into our platform services and being able to actually provide you an MCP kind of interface. Yes. So we are hearing you or listening to you, but please feel free to contact me, send me notes and your ideas, and we're absolutely committed to make you successful.
Excellent. We have 3 minutes left. We are happy to take any other questions you may have. There is finally reincarnation we need to talk about. So yes,
Yes,
no.
in my culture, reincarnation is a very real thing. I'm sure there's in Christian cultures as well. And yes, but I would say yes, it's we didn't have to die.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I would say that we are evolving. We are actually refreshing ourselves, and I think our time has come. I feel very excited. If you haven't noticed with my gestures or my tone of my voice, I'm super pumped, super excited, super thrilled to be here. And again, I want to make sure I stress, none of this would have been possible. Technology aside, we have an amazing group of people at Arango, and those are phenomenal people. The people who started the company, the people in Europe, the people in US, people in all across the world, in India, and so on and so forth. They're doing a phenomenal job of keeping us, not only surviving and not dying, but also moving forward. So unbelievable work ethics. And yes, we are learning from you, so please continue to coach us. Please continue to give your feedback to us. That makes us stronger. So nothing is criticism. Every feedback is just an opportunity to improve.
Yep, no, absolutely. And also, just yesterday, a new CMO join. Jackie Geiger has joined. So you're going to start seeing Arango is going to make a lot more noise. There is so much we have been doing. We've been in a bit of a stealth mode with a lot of the things we're doing with our GenAI platform. And it is built on the thing this company started with, a core database. And as Ravi said, this is our time now, and we are super excited about the potential to help customers in their journey. So again, I want to thank you all for joining. Really excited to have you, Ravi, here. And we really feel very privileged that the time and space opportunity with what Arango has done for many years is all coming together in a very profound way. And thank you for all your support, all our customers, all our partners, and we look forward to working with you even more closely. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a great day. Bye.